Good evening once again, friends and viewers. As promised, I'm back after a short break. Yesterday, I had taken a webinar on the two types of lesson plans that we teachers use. And one of those, of course, are the personalized ones, which we've done all our lives through because the pre-designed ones weren't available at that particular time. But today, we have access to pre-designed or preconceived lesson plans, which are designed by experts, right? So, which lesson plan should we as educators use in our classes? That is the question for today. So I took the webinar yesterday, but there was a lot of disturbance, so I did not upload that video. I'm going to re-record the presentation for everyone's benefit. So let's just kickstart the session for today. I want to make it as short as possible. So here's my screen, and as is customary, a very warm and hearty welcome to all of you on my channel, Eloquent English Enterprise. I not necessarily, I don't actually deal only with English. There are more topics which are more general for teachers, which I consider, and I make presentations on those. So I had named the channel as Eloquent English Enterprise, but it doesn't mean that it's only for English, right? Okay, so let's proceed. Let's see what we have in store for us. Okay, now pre-designed versus personalized lesson plans, weighing the options for 21st century educators. So if we take a look at the lesson planning, what should be an educator's perspective? How should we go about it? Or which kind of plan is going to be best suited for us and our students? The first question is, what is a lesson plan? We are all teachers, we are all educators, and I'm sure when we pursued our BEd degree, we were told how to design a lesson plan. But when you go to different schools, they all have different, books where you have to fill in. So there could be a little bit of difference, but basically there are a few points which are common to all schools, irrespective of which corner of the country you are located. Okay, so what exactly is a lesson plan? A lesson plan is a teacher's guide for facilitating a lesson, right? Before we go to a class, we have to be prepared for that particular lesson. So to keep the things short, it typically includes the aim. What are your teaching aims? What are your goals? How are you going to go about it? Like what methodology are you going to use? Then what are the tools that you're going to use? What are the teaching aids that you're going to use to reach that particular goal? And then you have to give enough practice. Like once you've done your bit, how do you recapitulate? How do you do the recapitulation? So you have to give enough practice to your students. So what kind of practice you're going to give, what kind of questions you're going to put up at the end of the lesson, not necessarily in writing, it could be oral as well. And then how to assess the performance of your students, and yes, and the observations after you've conducted that particular lesson, after you've taught that particular lesson. What are your observations? Were the children happy? Did you get the desired results? What was the general reaction of your students? So all of these things we note down in our lesson plans. Each lesson plan is very important. You cannot underplay its importance. You cannot ignore it. And every effective classroom where teaching and learning become permanent, where they are to be used later in their lives, this particular lesson planning has a deep relationship with the outcomes. So a good lesson plan will definitely give better results. So we must go in for diligent lesson plans. How do you go about it? Okay. Or what exactly it is, again, in a little detail. This is a roadmap of your objectives. And you decide what you want your students to accomplish, how will they go through it, and why is that particular learning necessary for them. So here, as a teacher, you need to plan what you want to teach your students. and why a topic is being covered and how to deliver the lecture. Like if you're doing fractions, why are you teaching fractions? If you're doing photosynthesis, what exactly do you want the children to understand? If you're doing, say, Shakespeare, why, like, what's the necessity of going back, 4 or 5 centuries and discuss Shakespeare and his plays? So everything, every lesson, every subject has some reason of being taught. So you need to be very clear about it yourselves, and the same clarity, the same aim has to be conveyed to your students. Your learning objectives, learning activities, assessments, all of these should definitely be included in your lesson plan, because though we are all teachers, I am an English teacher, I have had colleagues, but none of our lesson plans have ever been the same. Despite the fact that we are teaching the same lessons, yet our lesson plans are not the same. So we used to sort of, refer to each other's plans while teaching. Okay. Now, what are the advantages of a pre-designed lesson plan? Everything has advantages and disadvantages. So let's discuss the positive aspects first. It saves a lot of time. When you have a pre-designed lesson plan, because it has been made by experts, obviously you have a ready-made thing with you, so you save a lot of your time. Then expertise, you get expert plans because those people have researched into that subject matter. So whatever are their derivations, they're going to be really good. So you get lesson plans made by experts. Okay. Quality control. Obviously, when there are experts who are designing this kind of curriculum, the quality is going to be much better than probably what we as individuals can do. And then a variety of resources, because again, they are well-read, they've been through it thoroughly. So they give you different kinds of resources to reach the same destination. They give you a lot of different ways in which the same lesson can be taught. Because if we think singularly, probably we will not come to so many different kinds of resources. But when we get it in the form of a pre-designed lesson plan, it is definitely more advanced and more beneficial. But as we have the other side of the coin, there are a few disadvantages also which come with the pre-designed lesson plan. So let's discuss those. Lack of customization. I know my children, right? I know my students. So I know exactly what and how should be taught to them, right? How do I go about with my lesson? I know my children, so I know how to give whatever they need. But when you have a pre-designed lesson plan, it cannot be customized because it is already made. So that is one disadvantage. Then it's a kind of a one-size-fits-all approach. I can't wear your shoes, you can't wear mine. So when when the experts are making these lesson plans, they think about the average student. But we know as educators that in every class there are some students who are very bright and some are slow learners. But this approach of pre-designed lesson plans is the same for all. So it doesn't fit either of them. It may fit the average student of your class, but it is not suitable for the very good ones, for the very bright students, and it's not good for the slow learners as well. You don't get too much of creativity to work with because it's a set kind of a plan. So you don't have that freedom to make the necessary changes because the other class is following it also. So here you are kind of, you're bound by the rules which are being followed in a pre-designed lesson plan. And there could be a bit of inaccuracy because like as we have our sun signs and they're not, neither of the two people who were born under the same sun sign have similar kinds of fate. Similarly here, there could be certain errors if you try to implement the lesson plan as such when it is being given to you by your school authorities. Okay, so these are some of the disadvantages. Now let's discuss the advantages of personalized lesson plans, the ones which we make ourselves for our students. Firstly, it is student-centered. Obviously, I or you or anybody for that matter will make the lesson plan as per the requirement of their students. It is flexible because you've made it. You can change it accordingly. You can differentiate it as per the requirement of different kinds of students is a wrong word. The abilities, the different abilities of your students. Some people may grasp a thing faster, somebody may be slower. And this changes again with the subjects. So you can differentiate, and then differential kind of learning and teaching can be done. And then you have to take ownership for what you are doing, because if it's a pre-designed lesson plan, you can just, very easily and comfortably wash your hands of it. But when it's your plan, you are responsible for it. So you take the ownership of what you're planning and what you're teaching to your students. Disadvantages of personalized lesson plans. Let's discuss that as well. So firstly, time commitment. And for this, I've made a few personal notes. I want to give the exact reason why I feel that time commitment is there for all the teachers. So if you try to develop personalized lesson plans, it requires both time and effort. And especially for new teachers, it's very difficult. They are not experienced. And even for those teachers who've got huge classes, I mean, the number of students is pretty large. So you find yourself at a disadvantage because you don't have that much of time. And it's a little difficult prospect. Okay. So then the second disadvantage is resource creation. Every time it becomes very difficult for teachers to create something original, and it requires additional thought. So obviously it requires more time and more energy for resource creation. The third is content expertise. Now, we all start as novices. We all started as, very new teachers. So initially, it's very difficult for a new teacher to be an expert in the content and its delivery as well. So if you are planning yourself, you have to be really good. But then I'm sure you all take advice of your seniors over there. So some teachers may not have that kind of expertise. So definitely they should take guidance from their senior colleagues. And last one is reinventing the wheel. Now, we all know that the wheel was discovered or invented by our forefathers thousands of years ago. So at times what happens, things have already been planned, but we waste our time in planning the same thing again and again. So if we have a pre-designed lesson plan, probably we'll not waste our time doing the same thing which has already been done. Okay. So instead of spending time in creating plans which already exist, it would be better for teachers to do something better and utilize the time which is saved by taking the pre-designed lesson plans. Okay, so what should be the ideal approach for 21st century educators? The best approach is the hybrid approach. We are all very well aware of this new term, hybrid. Our children are working in offices. They go to the office sometimes, and most of the time they're working from home. So this is the hybrid approach. I mean, you're going to the office and you're working from home as well. So for teachers, you can't do that now. Yes, when COVID was on, we were all working from home. So how do we follow this hybrid approach? So my advice to teachers would be, you start with the pre-designed plan as a base. Okay, so you get the basic information like how to plan your lesson. So once you have a pre-designed plan, then you can make the necessary changes. You can personalize it based on the needs of your own students. Okay. Then you also have the freedom to integrate technology and project-based learning. Project-based learning, I'm sure you all know, but I'll just say that in one statement. It is, rather than lecture method, you give them a topic and let them do it, or let them understand that particular concept on their own. You give them cues and they work upon it and they come back with their own derivations. So this is project-based learning. And continuously reflect and adapt. Okay. Education and new learning are something which are continuously going to be evolved, they are continuously evolving. So we need to think and then adapt ourselves to the new theories and new techniques which come up. I think every passing day, there's something or the other which is new. So towards the end, I have a parting thought, and that is ultimately, towards the end, the most effective lesson plans are those which are flexible, they're engaging, and they cater to the unique needs of each student. We don't have one student in our class. We have so many different types of students coming from different kinds of social strata, different kinds of families. Somewhere mothers are working, somewhere they are homemakers, somewhere there are problems. So we have to cater to the requirements of all of these students of ours. So we should, have the ability to make the most effective lesson plans, which can be applied in teaching this different variety of students in our class. So if we strategically use both the pre-designed plans and our own personalized plans, then we, the 21st century educators, we can create a very dynamic, always evolving and enriching learning environment for all of our students. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here with me. I hope you like this video. So please do give me a thumbs up if you feel I've done justice to the topic, and do share it with your fellow educators, because I want to share my thoughts with most of my fellow teachers, educators, and facilitators. I hope you liked it. If you did, I'll wait for good comments in the comment box. So till I get back with a new video, a more relevant one maybe for all of you. Till then, it's bye-bye. Archana Mathur signing off for tonight. Have a good day tomorrow. Have a very happy weekend. Bye-bye. God bless.